Ironically enough, it is Chelsea shops like Seditionaries, the shop owned by Malcolm McLaren and his partner Vivienne Westwood, which now embody those aspects of punk that Danny and Mark despise.
I expect the main heading you could really give them now is distinct from the sex thing. I think you'd have to call them urban guerrilla. I think that's the main kind of theme that would make people understand them. They've got touches of primitive things. People who come in my shop, I've noticed Jordan wear sort of rather tribal makeup sometimes. Things like this are reminiscent of Greek peasant costumes, this little kilt, and like the tartan of this jacket and everything. It's got an old sort of feeling to it, a little bit to do with, rather sort of bandits in the countryside, that kind of thing. Something that you might have seen at the Battle of Culloden, something like that. But,
without all the bondage straps.
Yeah, well, those are what make you feel very heroic, all those things. They add to the whole feeling that you have. They're very romantic, the whole sort of mood of these when you get them on. As I say, they've got these primitive touches, things like the trousers all come with a little loincloth on the back. Everybody wants to know what that's for. It's just a loincloth. It's just a gesture of some kind of tribalism, really. You could always point out that maybe it's got some connection with the fact that this zip goes right round the back, up the arse as well. I don't know. People try to make that connection sometimes.
What sort of people are buying them, Vivienne?
All kinds of people. I don't know who these people are half the time. I don't know if it's somebody. I think, my goodness, what does that old lady? What is? She's really getting into those trousers. And if I don't ask her where, what kind of background she's got, I just sort of think, well, she's perhaps an art lecturer somewhere. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't go to Hong Kong or to somewhere, and get something made up cheaply. I rely on English craftsmen to make things for me, and I think that people do appreciate what they're actually paying for. And if I were the Prime Minister, one of the things I would do to help the economy of this country is to take more care of English craftsmen.
So punk kids' amateur fashion ideas have been successfully taken up by professional designers like Vivienne Westwood. At the same time, the raw do-it-yourself musicians have found themselves embraced by the mainstream record industry. Not all of them have enjoyed it, perhaps because it meant a change for punk itself.
There are some bands that would feel much more comfortable on a smaller label, would feel terrible walking through Soho Square into a reception area where they have to identify themselves and come in. On the other hand, there are bands that recognize that what they're in the business for is the music that they're making, perhaps the message that goes into the music that they are creating. And the place for them to get the widest audience is with a record company that can merchandise, market, expose them to the widest public. So yes, it is a contradiction in terms, and yes, every rebel has always said he doesn't want to become part of the establishment, and this is nothing new.
One of the most rebellious and successful 60s groups was The Animals. We asked former bass guitarist Chaz Chandler, now a record producer, if there was any real difference between punk and his generation.
No, I really don't think there is. I think they're exactly the same as what we ever were.
What do you think the effect of this sort of music will be on bands that are around already, like Slade?
It's going to frighten the life out of a lot of them.
What's the effect been throughout the industry of this music?
Usual things, some holding their hands up in horror, some liking it, and others saying, oh, if we ignore it, it'll go away.
Well, when you listen to what they're saying, some of the musicians are saying now, and they're saying things like they made a band because they want to make political statements and they want to make a comment about the life.
Everybody said that as well in the old days. Doesn't matter. Some of them are lying, some of them aren't.
Do you think any of them are telling the truth now?
Oh, somewhere, yeah. That, I seen like that interview we did with Johnny Rotten. I thought it was great. I thought it was a knockout.
Do you think he's telling the truth?
I don't know. It doesn't matter, does he? Does it?
Well, it's all show business.
It's rock and roll. It's fun.
For groups like this one, Slaughter and the Dogs, the last 12 months has been transition from minority cult to commercial success. At the same time, the music has become more sophisticated. At the other end of the scale, punk has given to many young people with no ambition to climb the pop charts the chance to play in a band. A year ago, the punks made their own rules. Now that punk and the music industry have come together, the rules have changed. Some groups haven't been able to play by these new rules.
When you were at 100 Club, you told me you weren't nervous at all. You just got up there and sang Twist and Shout and the Lord's Prayer, and you just got up and did it, and now you're nervous.
Yeah, I didn't have time to think about it. It just happened, and I went on the stage without thinking about it. Now, I've got nervous breakdowns and everything. I'm just frightened of myself. I usually forget the words and what we're doing. Scatterbrain.
But are you more nervous because there's more at stake and you want to get a recording contract and it's more competitive now in a way?
No, it's just myself I'm competing with, that's all. We want a recording contract, but not in the way that we're going to compromise anything that we do. Which is very hard.
Have you had lots of offers?
No. And that is why, probably.